let's get to it. Back with Motor City Lions Talk. And simple question, open for discussion. Most of my videos, I like to leave them open for discussion. Comment, just don't get disrespectful. But I like to hear everybody's opinion after I give my opinion. But was Jim Caldwell truly the problem? And it seems that Bob Quinn believes Caldwell was the problem by still trying to retain Austin or Jim Bob Cooter. And what I mean by that is both of them got a shot at the interview for the Lions head coaching position. Okay. So basically, I believe that if as a defensive coach comes in, Jim Bob Cooter, from all signs that's indicating and pointing, that Jim Bob Cooter will control the offense. And if it's an offensive coach coming in, Teryl Austin will continue to do the defense. Now, Jim Caldwell had several errors last year, especially in the Pittsburgh game, and, missing challenges as well. And basically, let's talk about what the job of the head coach is. It's not to be a coordinator most of the time, even though McCarthy in Green Bay is not going to be the he's going to be the offensive coordinator and call the calls for Aaron Rodgers. But that's very rare. You got that in Sean McVay out there in L.A. with the Rams as well, who's doing a magnificent job with that offense and that team. But the main job of a head coach is to manage the whole team, basically. Coach the whole team. Coach the coaches. Make sure the offense is on point. Make sure the defense is on point. And on game day, they pretty much make the final decision. He's supposed to oversee, what the offense is doing for the week, what the defense is doing for the week. If we get in this scenario, if it's 4th and short in this game, we going for it. Or, this is what the first 10 play calls, or this is going to be the game plan for the week. We're going to try to run the ball this X amount of times and this and that. Sometimes they even approve the plays that go through the headset. Okay, I approve that. You can call that. So basically, he's the manager of the whole team. He manages the whole team. Not necessarily calls the plays and do all that, but he makes sure everything is on point because at the end of the day, it boils down to him. Even if he's an offense or a defensive guy or special teams guy, he's supposed to be on point with managing game situations, managing his his team, and managing personalities and getting a group of men to move as one. And basically what Bob Quinn is saying is that Jim Caldwell failed at that. He couldn't get the job done as a head coach. He had the coordinators potentially to get it done, but as a head coach, he didn't manage the team and coach the team well enough to get it done. And that's what it boils down to. And if that's the case, then yeah, a lot of people feel that is the case with Jim Caldwell. He made some boneheaded plays. He didn't review a player there. He should have kicked the field goal when he, at a certain point. He should have overseen and knew that the number one de facto issue with the Lions was to be able to run the ball. He's the offensive guy. So schematically, he should know how to fix the run game. If Jim Bob Cooter couldn't fix the run game, maybe Jim Caldwell was holding these guys back. Maybe that is the fact of it. Maybe, he was telling Jim Bob Cooter not to do certain things, not to open it up. Oh, we could try to run the ball, but we probably can't run the ball. So, he could have been doing that. But from my experiences, Caldwell didn't want to take over the play calling when Joe Lombardi was messing up and he was out. He let Jim Bob Cooter, open it up. Maybe that was an organization's, decision. But by them interviewing the two coordinators, that's telling me Caldwell was a lame duck coach. And that's what Bob Quinn truly, truly believed. And I ain't going to argue that. He was a winning coach. But like Bob Quinn said in the press conference, he said that he didn't have a winning record versus above 500 team. Most of his wins came from sub 500 teams. But definitely Austin is legit. Now, if they hire Teryl Austin, let me go into this phase. I wouldn't be mad. He's a legit defensive coordinator. He's a top 10 defensive coordinator in this league. What he done with the Lions defense the past few years has been very, very great. Since Sue left and Fairley and all them left over the years, Averill, the turnover has been great. He was able to get a secondary in place, even though the front seven pretty fizzled with Whitehead, Teryl Whitehair head, falling off the face of the map after a couple years ago, with Levy getting injured, with Sue moving on, with Ziggy being injured. I mean, he did a hell of a job with that defense. You know, he had some players in Slay and Glover Quinn and Tavon Wilson. You know, he did a hell of a job. His work speaks for itself. As a head coach, is it something different that he can bring to the table that Caldwell couldn't, that he gained under Caldwell? Could he be a better pupil? Could he have been a better pupil, than Caldwell was a head coach? Can he come up and make some things happen? He's definitely a fresh face. He's definitely somebody that's been on the radar for a time. I would love the Teryl Austin hire. I would like it over Matt Patricia. I really would. But my issue would be bringing a defensive guy. I don't want Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator. Matthew Stafford seems to love him. How can you love a guy who can't even protect you? How? How can you love a guy that can't even get you a good run game? And maybe the Lions don't feel, maybe the organization feels like they don't need to be a dominant run team. Maybe they feel they don't need to be an effective run team. And if that's the notion and that's the mindset in that organization, then it's going to be set up for failure once again. The Leaning Tower pizza has just failed because that's the number one issue with the Lions. And if they don't know where their number one issue is at, he thinks it's like New England, we can get any running back in and plug and they can run the ball. You're sadly mistaken. Because Tom Brady's short passing, accurate ability in passing all over the field, and his smartness, they're able to make audibles at the line of scrimmage, and his IQ and the system offensively they have set up in New England is nothing like Jim Bob Cooter's. There's no go-to plays. There are no adjustments on the fly. There's no They don't know how to use Golden Tate. He should be used like Julian Edelman. But Golden Tate has the ability to go downfield as well. So you have a weapon. He's a better runner than Julian Edelman. He's a better athlete than Julian Edelman. When they can't identify how to split with guys who just ain't got like Eric Ebron, that's an organizational issue. When they can't identify, they can't run the ball. And that's the issue. And if Stafford can't identify that, maybe Stafford loves Jim Bob Cooter because he loves dropping back 50, 60 times a game throwing the ball. Maybe that's what he truly loves. But is he not smart enough to know that dropping back that many times, he got killed this year? He took a beating. He lost years off his career this year by the beating he took, that he could have easily handed the ball off 20, 25 times off to an effective running back. And he can put years on his career and years on and make him, operate longer as a quarterback. Maybe so. But Jim Bob Cooter, in any scenario, I need him out. Unless he can say that Jim Caldwell held him back from having a dominant run game or having an effective run game. Over Jim Caldwell's idea to ride with Amir Abdullah. Well, at the end of the day, it's Bob Quinn's issue as well because he let it happen. He oversees it. These two, the right tackle and TJ Lang in the offensive line, they just wasn't cutting it. Maybe I need better players or another year together to run the ball. The Cincinnati Bengals had the worst offensive line, statistically speaking, Pro Football Focus said this year. They couldn't block for Andy Dalton for nothing. But the one thing they could do, they could run the ball. And that's one thing an offensive line can do, even if it's the shittiest of the shittiest. They can run the ball. Offensive lines are effective at pushing defenses back. That's why you see a lot of teams love to run the ball and then they play off the run. Because once those big fellas get to rolling forward, blocking and moving, they get confidence. Now, the defense or the defensive line don't know what they're doing. They can be running, they can be run blocking, pass blocking. They don't know. The Lions have no surprise. Everybody know they're throwing it. And when they throw it, when they run it, everybody know, they can't run it, so we can still play the pass. So we play the run by playing the pass. So, in any circumstance, Jim Bob Cooter, the offense is the primary issue with the Detroit Lions. You could say the defense did this, did that, but it was solid before Haloti Ngata got injured. It was. There was a top run defense. There was a top defense taking the ball away. It was good money. They lost a big cog in the middle and it fell apart. Offense it been the same. It been the same thing for years. Not being able to sustain drives, not being able to get third and short, not being able to get fourth and short, not being able to punch it in the red zone on the goal line. That's a big issue. And if that organization can't figure that out, and maybe they figure out, Jim Caldwell can't figure it out, but I'm pretty sure Jim Bob Cooter had all the opportunities to change that. Bob Quinn, he approved those two offensive linemen coming this year. He approved Amir Abdullah, theoretic running back with the same backs this year. They didn't identify in one of the deepest running back draft class I've seen in a long time. They didn't identify a need that they needed to do. And schematically with the running backs, I don't know what it is, but it's not working. So Caldwell was the scapegoat in here. And if Jim Cooter gets to stay, it's going to be very interesting to see the adjustments he can make without Caldwell and see if Caldwell was truly holding him back. Not just stay if he's elected as head coach. Stay if he is Matt Patricia as the head coach, and he will be retained as the offensive coordinator unless Matt Patricia say he wants to bring somebody else in, which he is defensive guy, which is stupid. You have a great defensive coordinator right here in Teryl Austin. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Bring your offensive guy in, let Austin continue to be the defensive coordinator or the head coach. But it seems to be, in my opinion, that Jim Caldwell was holding these two back by these two guys being a head coach candidate for the Detroit Lions. It really does, you know. And it's not like they're trying to address the Rooney Rule with interviewing Teryl Austin. They interviewed another black coach the linebacker coach from Green Bay, and Steve Wilkes from the Carolina Panthers. So, you know, let me know what y'all think about this.